Welcome back, everybody. I'm Zell, and today we're looking at the Ruike P801 SF. And yeah, I know, guys, it's been a while. We did the first look on this one quite a while ago, and this is one of those knives that the review just got pushed. Not because it's a bad knife, but because I was trying to get the blade centered, and two, other knives just came in that were a little higher on the priority scale, but do not let that take anything from this guy. So let's get into it, because this is a pretty sweet knife for the money you're spending. First up, we got a closed length of 4.49, just under 4.5 inches, a super thin handle thickness of 0.36, a nice short height here of 1.1, and wow, from the outside, this guy is a knife that you're going to want to carry. It's going to fit in your pocket really well. And let's get a look at the outside. First off, we've got this really hard to get on the camera stainless. This is a 3CR13, I believe, and which puts it in the 420 family of steels or thereabouts. And it is, if you can see it there, it's been shined up a little bit and tumbled. Now that does make for a somewhat slick surface, but it's not all that bad a thing, as we'll see here in a minute. Now, we do have a nice blue pivot collar there on our pivot screw. Got a blue thumb stud. Flipping it around to the other side, we do have a lanyard hole down here, and the lanyard hole is not sleeved. We've got some pretty nice standoffs, little spool types, a little extra touch, something more than just, a round piece of steel sticking in there. And we've got this bright blue pocket clip that has some kind of coating on it that I would like to know about, because it is very effective. I have carried this knife not like a huge amount, but enough that I should have scuffed it up. And just look at that guy. It is still looking really, really good. Here on the back side, we do have another blue collar, and this is a standard pivot setup. We've got a pivot sleeve and 2 Torx screws, so you'll need 2 T8s, I believe it is, to get it apart. Watch the What's Inside video to find out for sure, and then T6 screws throughout the rest. And I suppose we should get our Weehaw driver out and see just what we've got here. We've got a Weehaw T6, and what do we come up with? Well, there's your Weehaw, and Real Steel is using pretty darn good screws. I'm not going to complain about them one bit. Let's see how the pivot works out. That'd be a T8. So there we go. Let's see, got the Weehaw sticking up there. A little bit looser on the pivot, but still not bad. Not bad at all. And considering the price point, our MSRP here is $33. Street price most places is right at 30 bucks. Can't complain about that at all. And continuing to get a look at it, we do have a pretty nice flipper tab, no jimping, and doesn't really need it. Once I got the knife tuned, it definitely does not need that. And overall, a very, very simple design, little jimping up here, and just a clean look. I rather like it. I know a lot of you have been complaining about the blue accents of late, but hey, I still like them. I like them a lot. The only problem I've got with this knife is blade centering. I've never been able to get this thing properly centered. I've tried all kinds of tricks and everything, and it's come down to it's either the blade is bent a little bit or there's some milling problem, and I don't know which. So let's move along here, get this guy out, and get some size comparison in. We are very close in size to our Rat Model 1, also very close in size to our Buck 110. The blade here on the Ruike is 3.36 inches long with an edge length of 3.4. So we're just a little bit bigger than our Spyderco Delica. And it's really a good size for an EDC knife overall. And since we got the blade out, let's get a look at it. And what we have here is a piece of flat ground. I believe it is, yes, 14C28N. And you read that right there. And it's 14C28N, for those of you that may or may not have used it, it's a very interesting steel. It's actually a upgrade, kind of. I'd call it a side grade from the 12C28N, I believe it is, Sandvik. And the major difference is the corrosion resistance. And I'd have to go look at the chemical composition to tell you exactly how they achieved that. Probably a little more chromium, but it was the 12C was a razor blade steel. The 14C is still kind of a razor blade steel. And what you end up with is a super fine grained steel that you can bring up to a really, really fine edge. And at this price point, it's a great steel. In fact, it's a great steel probably up to your $50 or so price point, because it sharpens up reasonably easy, in fact, very easily. And not only that, it strops back to that fine edge very easy. And that's one thing to see here. See that edge? That is still a factory edge. It's been stropped several times, but I have not put it up on the sharpener. And if we can get the light on that right there, we've got a very nice sharpening choil. And everything come out really good on the blade for the flat grind. And it is 3.1 millimeters thick, or about 0.120. So it's nice and thin, flat ground, makes it a good little slicer. And like I said, factory edge has just been stropped, so there you go. It's not perfect by any means, but for a factory edge that all I've done to it is use it and strop it, that's pretty freaking impressive in my book. So blade-wise, we're doing really, really good. I think they've done a great job here of bringing you a very good steel at a very reasonable price, a good design, nice flat grind, nice secondary bevel. We'll see if we can get a behind the edge thickness. This is super tough to do, but I'm going to give it a shot, and it's not going to happen with that like I had hoped. We'll see what we get with these. Now, and these measurements are pretty hard to do, so we're going to just say that it's less than 20 thousandths behind the edge. And you saw how it sliced. It's going to be fine. You can flop your apple apart with it, whatever you need to do. Going to be a good little blade. And now let's go to our pause and read card, and I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, so what has Ruike done as far as mechanics? Well, we are on ball bearings, and we have a nice detent. Lock bar on this one, whenever I first got it, was rather stiff. I ended up taking the knife apart, and it was already misaligned. And I tried a little more lock bar tension, a little less lock bar tension. I tried every other trick in the book. Couldn't get the blade to center up properly. So I went ahead and took some of that lock bar tension off so that it does flip real well. And it doesn't, rub up against the line or the handle scales or anything. It's just off center, and that just kind of bugs me on a new knife that otherwise is fabulous. Action-wise, I mean, look at that. Remember, we're talking about a $30 knife here, gentlemen. That is just beautiful. And like I said, ball bearings, we got a good detent in there. It's not one that's going to come loose on you real easy. That was my fault. I kicked it back out there. Is it one that's going to pass that Canadian border thing or New York? Oh, well, probably not, because if I work at it, I can get it to flip out. But overall, it is very nice mechanically. Does a very good job, and really, really like that. Now, let's get it in the pocket and see how that goes. Well, our Levi's are looking a little worn here. Getting it down in the pocket of a regular set of Levi's, that guy just disappears. I mean, literally. It's gone. And for some of you, I know, that's a beautiful thing, and it's got that beautiful blue pocket clip that Well, it kind of looks like a pair of blue jeans, kind of. But it's still, man, that's a good looking clip. Now, the one problem I did find with this thing is the screws are sitting on top there. So if you do try to put this in thicker pants, you are going to have the problem with the screws. Regular jeans, not a problem. Anything else, depending on how thick that seam is, can become a bit problematic, and you may not get it all the way down in the pants like you'd like. And now let's move along to ergonomics. Ergonomically, we are very simple, and in this case, simple again is a very good thing. We got this little bit of choil here, and that choil locks you in. Got the jimping right there, good place for your thumb, and you are locked into the knife. The slick handles don't cause a problem. And same thing here. You've got that choil there to get your pinky in. You can thumb cap it, not a problem. Same here, you're in pretty good shape. Do be aware, though, that the knife is somewhat slick handled. And let's look at our jimping here. Got a very generous lock bar relief and a little bit of jimping in there to get the lock bar loosened up. And might as well look at the lock up there. We're about 55%, which on a $30 knife, I'm not going to fuss about one little bit. Overall, guys, the Ruike P801 SF, oh, it could be in running for the deal of the year, year after year. Good stainless in it. Very good action. If it was centered up, it would just be an outstanding knife. And if you get one that's centered up, well, there you go. You have an outstanding knife. And the slick on the handles is the only thing that I'm going to really be a little fussy about. Even though it really doesn't affect the operation of the knife day to day, it's just, you know, they could have given us just a little bit of texture, a little bit of something to hold on to, because they just didn't. Even a more aggressive stone wash would have taken care of it. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, we have a beautiful knife. I love that blue that they're using. And I know many of you are kind of cold on that blue nowadays, but man, I like it. And the rake, gotta say rake. I keep wanting to say other words. P801 SF is a rather beautiful knife in a very nice package at a superb price. You're not going to get too many knives that have actions like this, good stainless, and those little things like the pivot collars and that beautiful pocket clip in this price category. Now, it is tip up right hand only. Do be aware of that as far as the clip orientation. And that's all I'm going to say, guys. It is a great little knife for the price. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon, and I will see you next time.